I'm Traci Tackett. I'm the gifted education teacher for Pikeville Independent Schools, and I split my day at Pikeville High School and Pikeville Elementary evenly. So in a day, I'm working with every age child in our district and in both schools. But 3 years ago, we started a small garden project that has just grown tremendously each year. We're getting a lot of attention from around not only our district and the parents and the students, but also districts in the Eastern Kentucky region and even across the state of Kentucky. So one of the problems that I had experienced was the only students that were working in the garden were students in the gifted program or students in the primary talent pool. And students would come up to me almost daily and ask how they could join my class, which hurt me, and it hurt the teachers who had to let some kids leave to go to the garden, but not everyone got to go. So we started thinking of ways that we could get more students involved. The other teachers had asked me to do that, and so with my background in primary education, I knew through learning stations, dividing kids into small groups, that I could make that more manageable to get larger groups of kids into the garden at a time. So our goal was to make every child a gardener through small groups and involving technology with the garden project. And so I've already told you what our problem was, but our question was how might we get more kids involved in a manageable way, and my strategy was to use technology in the garden through the use of QR code signs. That was not something that I could personally do on my own, because as you can imagine, when I have that many different age groups of kids, I have projects on top of projects, and sometimes I feel like a juggler who's about to drop all of the plates and have a disaster. So through my high school community problem solving team, I was able to get these students on board to help me. And this student in particular, he's one of our student senate members. He created a website that has actually grown into a resource that teachers are using all across the state. They have worked, this group of students has worked with the Kentucky Department of Education and the Kentucky Department of Agriculture in getting our garden produce into our cafeterias and what are the proper procedures for doing that. But they, within this website, they made QR code signs to go in our garden. Attempt at this actually had the QR codes for different websites. So we had these templates created, the prototypes, and I started testing each one. And I thought, man, that's a lot of information for a first or second grade student to try to decipher. They were, these websites might have recipes, tons of nutritional facts, things that just weren't appropriate for first and second grade students on their own, independently to understand. So the high school students went back to the drawing board with my guidance and did all the research and learned all of these facts about the different vegetables we were growing in our garden. And the unique thing about our garden is it's a fall and winter garden, that we start in August when school starts, and we close the garden in May when school goes out, and we're harvesting throughout those winter months, which is pretty unusual. But these QR code signs link back to our school website that the high school kids created to 5 fun facts that first and second graders can understand. Different ways you can cook a turnip without necessarily having whole recipes, or the fact that carrots come in 5 or more colors that young kids find interesting, or that carrots were first used for medicinal purposes. So with my grant money, I was able to purchase 3 iPads, the cases, and some additional chargers, because I'm notorious for losing those or leaving them at the high school when I'm at the elementary. So we got some extras, and the kids can go out to the garden, scan the QR code sign, and then it will bring up the five fun facts for that vegetable. Hopefully it will connect, and there it is. So for turnips, it's a common root vegetable. It can be baked, cooked, boiled, made into a soup, or even eaten raw. It tastes like mustard greens, which the kids know what those taste like now. They can have a year-round harvest. believe it or not. We've had them in the garden. Right now we have some out there that we planted in August, so that's pretty cool. And turnips fed soldiers in World War II. And so that is something that allows me to put, I have 5 iPads, I can buddy them up with a partner, so 10 kids can be busy researching while I can take the other 10 kids and let them actually be harvesting or watering, and it makes it much more manageable for me. And this is an example of some more in the 5 fun facts. Here you can see the high school students actually teaching the primary kids. They came over to the high school and taught them. It was a very cold day, snow was outside, and so they did it in the classroom and let them actually just learn the process of using the iPads, using QR codes, what are they, and they were very excited about it. And then you can see that we progressed to actually taking them outside and instructing out there. We called our project STEAM Veggies this year because we've incorporated science, technology, engineering, math, and the arts into our garden. The art teacher has gotten on board, and we've done murals and lots of rock paintings, and they've painted the actual raised beds of the garden to make it a more beautiful place for our kids to spend time. And so last year we had 104 students that were actively involved in the garden, and this year we've increased that to 330, but actually since then we've been getting some first graders out there, so that number has increased. And I've been excited about getting more kids out there, but one of the drawbacks with me being able to serve so many kids is there's just one of me, and half of my day is at the high school. And then when I get to the elementary with schedules and, you know, teachers have things that have to be taught at a certain time, it was just impossible for me to actually get every kid out into the garden. So my goal of every single child being out there has not happened, unfortunately, but certain grade levels it's more conducive, and so hopefully as the years progress, you know, the kindergartners and first graders who haven't been able to be out there as much, that will improve and increase. I mean, they'll have their time. And so here you can see the PHS Growing Appalachia website that's linked to our elementary and high school pages. It has information about our school garden project. It also has a link to it has teacher resources up there as one of the tabs, and that gives KELP documents that the Kentucky Department of Education is using in the revamping of the Kentucky Environmental Literacy Plan. It has a PowerPoint presentation that teachers can use in their own schools if they want to start a school garden. How do you begin? And they can work through this professional development on their own. And just a lot of different resources along with our QR code signs that anyone could print off and use. So that's pretty much it. Any questions?